Welcome to the Mosto Fitness Podcast. I am Coach Tyler, and today we are talking about mental toughness for racing, staying focused and resilient. So, like I said, I'm Coach Tyler. I am an off the bike coach for off-road racers, motocross, hare scramble, enduro, sprint enduro, desert racing, whatever it may be. I am here to help those types of racers. I work with racers remotely, and a lot of them don't have time to ride on the bike or train. So I like to take that time they have off the bike and make it efficient and make sure that it's working the correct muscles, building the correct systems, and making sure they are resilient to fatigue, flexibility, mobility. They've got the tools they need to race at their best. And just like that, I like to be efficient with the podcast as well. Keep them around 10 minutes, tell you the things you need, not a lot of extra fluff. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Like I said, we're talking about mental toughness for racing, staying focused and resilient. So, it doesn't matter what type of racing you're doing and what happens. If you've got a rough moto, bad weather, crash, self-doubt, a good mindset will help sharpen our performance. So mental toughness isn't just like a hype thing or like a thing that, people just say. It's really your ability to show up, stay focused, and push through those hard moments. So, what does mental toughness in racing look like or mean, or what do I interpret it as? It's the ability to perform well under stress, discomfort, and fatigue. We want to, be able to stay calm at the gate, regroup after a mistake, and push hard when the body is saying stop, screaming at us to stop. It's fatigued, it's tired, it's done. Um, Mental toughness doesn't mean ignoring pain, it means managing it. So, what are common mental challenges that we face as racers? So, first, and I know a lot of us can relate to this one, it's those pre-race, I heard a sound. It's those pre-race nerves, those butterflies, that doubt, that hesitation. So I know for me, like I'm a very nervous racer. I always have been since I was a kid. It didn't matter if it's motorcycles, triathlons, mountain bike racing, road racing. It doesn't matter if it's a race that I'm just going and racing a local 5K or I'm racing back end of the season, a race that, the points are super important. I need to place a certain place for points, or if it's a Ironman triathlon. I'm always equally as nervous, I think, because for me personally, I want to perform, I want to have a good race, and I just always have those pre-race butterflies. I'm nervous, I'm quiet. If you ever see me at a race, you'll find closer to the race. I might be a little hard to talk to. My wife actually calls me Spaceman because it's like I leave this planet. But so pre-race nerves, very normal for me, and something that I've learned to manage, and simply how I manage that is just by staying to myself, staying calm, and really just thinking and focusing about what's going to happen next. So then next we've got that mid-race panic. That's a challenge that we all face. Whether it's getting past, going down, or losing our rhythm. We need to be able to regroup and find our way back to where we were to make sure that we're back, we're focused, we're doing what we need to do, and we're in the moment, not thinking about what happened or what could happen next if I'm going to make that mistake again. Then there's that post-race frustration. I know we've all had that as well. We've all had those long car drives where you just have a lot of time to spend thinking about the race and what happened. It doesn't matter what type of race we have. We probably all have some type of frustration at some point post-race, just like, oh, I could have done this better. I could have done that. So, you know, bad results often equal a bad mood and then are not helping our productivity going forward. And then there's always social pressure. And I think this is something we deal with more now than ever with social media, because everyone can always post some clip of them going hard or looking like they're pro on social media. And that's what we think. It's like, oh, you got to be like the best all the time and you got to be like so pro all the time. But ultimately, a lot of that isn't real. Those are only just a couple seconds of someone's reality. So don't let that social media side of things frustrate you and mentally take you down. If you start to feel that way, I know it's hard, but just take a break from it. Just, put your phone down, delete the app for a little bit. Probably will really help you stay focused in the game and focusing on you. Now, what are some strategies we have to stay mentally sharp? And this is one I love, control the controllables. So your prep before the race, both physically, mentally, the bike, everything on that end. Your breathing, making sure once you're pre-race, you're focusing on your own breathing, helps you kind of stay focused, stay centered, and your mindset. So making sure that you're keeping a positive mindset. You fueled up, so our body's in a good spot. You're focusing on the race, what's going to happen, the positives, and really thinking about how you're going to control the controllables and keeping a positive mindset, not letting those doubts creep in, like, oh, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or I didn't do that, or look at that person. They look like they're going to be so much better than me. Just focusing on yourself. So, right, we've got lots of things we can't control. Like for example, in motocross, we don't know exactly when the gate's going to drop. We just got to be ready for that. When we're leaving, sometimes we don't really know what the weather's going to be like. We got to deal with that. Those are all uncontrollables. So we want to make sure we control the controllables. Now, I kind of already went into this a little, but self-talk matters. If you say you suck today, you will suck today. If you say, I've got this today, you probably got this today. So don't let negative thoughts creep into your mind, because the more you let negative thoughts creep in, the more you'll believe them. And the more likely we're not going to have the day we wanted just by telling ourselves. So I'm a really positive person. If you know me, I can find the most positive out of anything. And I will say, many athletes I work with, who just have success year in and year out, whatever success means to them, a lot of it is, they can take and put a positive spin on anything negative and find a positive from it, even a bad race. Well, this race went horrible, but I learned this, this, and this. They don't just say, oh, this race is horrible and I suck and I quit. They find a positive, they regroup, they get back to it. So give yourself positive self-talk pre-race, during the race, simply telling yourself you can do it, simply saying focus, breathe, those type of things can really help you just reset and get back to attacking. Next, visualize success. This is a big one pre-race. When I'm quiet before a race, this is literally what I'm doing, is just visualizing myself, clean lines, picking the right spots. When I'm getting, which I race off-road, when I'm getting when I run into a bottleneck or a group of riders, thinking of how I'm going to flow and get around it, and how I'm going to, use it as an opportunity and not something I can't do. Like, I think one thing, a lot of times that happens in these off-road races that gets people really upset and mad is you get into these bottlenecks and there's literally nowhere to go. Well, I can tell you, I could sit there and scream and rev my bike despite 20 bikes up from me. I have no idea what's going on. Or I could grab some fuel from my hydrator, do some quick breathing, kind of regroup. And then as maybe a sideline opens up or the trail gets flowing again, I can get back to it. I'm still in a mentally good spot and I took the opportunity. Now, next, build a mental reset button. Um, like simply put, one deep breath and just saying like focus or flow. If you find yourself mid-race feeling like you're all out of sorts, literally just have something simple as that, taking a nice solid breath and just saying focus, just kind of reset and remind you. Can help kind of take your mind away from everything else, all these distractions, all these things you feel like you're messing up, and get back to it. And then finally, a great thing here is to make sure that from time to time you train like you race on the bike. So it's pretty much impossible for us to do a race intensity all the time. We would be burnt out, we would be injured, not realistic. But when you put in those sessions that are a race effort, really make sure you're simulating fatigue and give yourself some physical and mental fatigue, and then build some grit with that. So really push yourself from time to time outside of races to help you so when you're in races, you're more prepared for dealing with that adversity mentally. So what are our takeaways? Be tough, be smart. Uh, the strongest racer isn't always the fittest. It's the one who's able to keep their head in the game. I mean, anyone who watches or pays attention to a full season of professional supercross or motocross, it's not necessarily always the fastest person who wins the season. There's also, the person who can just keep their head in the game for like all 17 rounds of Supercross. I mean, that is a grueling series of going between four time zones, racing different times of the day, different weeks, and being able to show up every time consistently, keeping their head in the game makes all the difference. You can't allow yourself to check out. So I kind of like to take that one away from the pros for myself. It's not necessarily who's the fastest or the fittest, but you got to be able to mentally keep your head in the game as well. So keep that in mind. Don't let yourself check out mid-season. And mental strength can be trained just like a muscle. We humans, we're very trainable. I had one great mentor who always told me, the brain is the strongest muscle and the hardest to train. And I kind of like to think of that sometimes, because we can tell ourselves a lot. We can tell ourselves we can tell ourselves we can't, and we can tell ourselves this is too hard. We can tell ourselves this is sustainable. And no matter where we're at, that will often become true. So, train your brain, think those positive thoughts, set up strategies to help you have the right outlook when things get tough. And then that's it for today. So in the next episode, we're going to talk about how to maintain energy and strength as the season continues to roll on and that kind of overall season fatigue starts to set in. So simple enough. I'm Coach Tyler. I always like to remind this at the end. I make remote training plans for racers off the bike. And if you have been thinking about off the bike training, you want to get more serious about it, you can try out our program for free. All I need is your email address. Send me a message on Instagram. It's Mosto Fitness, and I will hook you up. I'll talk to you guys later.